Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Droid Life Show, episode 38 tonight. I'm your host, Kellen. With me tonight, actually shortened cast tonight, Tim and Ron. Say hi, guys.
Hey, guys. Tim here.
This is Ron.
From Droid Life.
No, really? So, Eric will not be joining us, although he might be in the chat, hanging out. It's his birthday. He's apparently decided that's more important. Actually, that is more important. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, E. So we got some interesting stuff to talk about this week. Tim reviewed the Galaxy Gear, which we're just dying to hear about because, oof. Oh, you're still wearing it. I'm surprised that you're still wearing it, actually.
I figured I'd wear it just for the show.
Just for the show.
Right. Not because it's good and you want to use it.
So T-Mobile announced some stuff tonight. Has to do with international free data. We'll get over that in a second. Samsung made headlines in sort of a weird way last night with a round, curved, flexible display phone. We'll talk about that. There's a bunch of Nexus 5 stuff again. So it seems like each show we keep talking Nexus 5, but it just keeps piling on, piling on. We had a Keyline Pi potential leak. Motorola may be working on a 6.3-inch device. There's an actual gold HTC One now, like actual gold. And, we got some apps and games to talk about. So let's start, though, with this new T-Mobile stuff. T-Mobile had, actually, I believe it's right now. So T-Mobile's got an event going on in New York City with Shakira.
Yeah.
And they announced their next step in their revolution on becoming the Un-carrier, which is unlimited international data and text for free to everyone that has a simple choice plan. Actually, their press release said most simple choice plans, so I don't know exactly what that means, who doesn't qualify, but anyway, simple choice people should have unlimited data, unlimited text when they travel to any number of countries, around 100 of them. That includes Canada, Mexico, the UK, Denmark, China. I think I saw Taiwan on there. We've got it posted at the site, but that's a pretty big deal. And then they also announced tonight that their LTE network is now nationwide in 233 markets or metropolitan areas, and covers 200+ million people. So T-Mobile continuing to do big things. I don't personally travel internationally all that often, so the unlimited there isn't a big deal for me, but it's a pretty big deal for especially people that just go to either Canada and back, Mexico and back, and then obviously that travel way overseas. Nobody else is doing that, and every time you leave this country and you stick with your carrier, you have to pay ridiculous fees. So pretty big deal.
Yeah, I thought.
Want to go to Tijuana or something?
Not yet. Maybe Mexico or something along those lines. But I just thought it was so funny how they were bringing in Shakira.
Wait, is Tijuana not Mexico anymore?
It is in Mexico, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Sorry. I thought you said something completely different.
Oh, no,
Hey,
sorry.
you moved out of California a while ago. You forgot the geography.
It didn't register. It didn't register that you said Tijuana. I thought you said a different country. Of course, I know Tijuana.
Besides the country of Tijuana.
It might as well be. Anyways. So... Speaking of Shakira, I mean, it just reminded me so much of when I was in Vegas last time, and J-Lo was there to partner with Verizon, and we all know that awesome stuff came from that. And so I was kind of
finally saw some Vivo Mobiles, by the way.
Oh, really? Why didn't you take a picture?
Oh, we got Vivo Mobiles in LA now?
Is that where
I was out in Azusa, California. I had to go out there for work, and I saw two of them while I was out there, which if you have ever been to Azusa, that makes a lot of sense. So...
Nice.
So
I'll let somebody else connect the dots.
So I just thought it was good that T-Mobile actually did something that's good for their customers and not just announce some stupid partnership that doesn't mean anything. I applaud T-Mobile for this move. So
yeah, so who wins, T-Mobile or Verizon in the celebrity endorsement? Is it clear?
T-Mobile.
It's clearly Shakira.
Shakira.
Yeah.
Shakira. Yeah.
I don't think you can say Shakira. That just sounds too American or something.
Well, that's how MTV said it in Carson Daly way back when I was in junior high.
Yes.
It's Shakira and always will be.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. TRL.
Yeah,
I knew it. He said Taiwan. Sorry, I was just going to say, you said Taiwan, not Tijuana.
I definitely said Tijuana.
I said Tijuana.
Really?
Maybe it just came off weird. But
right, anyway.
You got one team member there.
Team Taiwan.
Team Taiwan.
Taiwan Colt.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shakira and J-Lo. Yeah, I'd say Shakira probably wins that one, or Timo wins that one. So, but international unlimited data, cool. 2G data, by the way, it's not 3G or LTE or anything like that, but it just automatically gets added to your plan. You don't have to do anything. It's just there. Also, if you make calls internationally to any of those 100 countries, which they're calling simple global countries, 20 cents per minute calls. And then also, if you're just in the, I'm sorry, if you're roaming in those countries and call somewhere else, it's 20 cents per minute. And then if you're in the U.S. and you just call abroad, I think it's the same. I should have that handy. I think it's still 20 cents per minute. Anyways, really cheap. Nobody else is doing it. It's funny, actually. Somebody made a comment in the post that Verizon and Verizon AT&T are going to announce their international free plan in like 3 weeks, except there'll be
T-minus 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, there'll be some ridiculous fee attached to it, though. One-time fee or something.
Yeah, and I don't think this is a feature that is going to be like making a big change. Carriers, just like the last thing really probably isn't making a big change. But that said, sorry, I'm a little sick. That said, that is a big deal. Like when you do want to travel and do that kind of thing, like that's like I just under a year ago when I got married, like we went on our honeymoon, we went down to Cancun, and that's like I checked into prices just to see, hey, what are we looking at, and it was just so outrageous. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to go through the hassle of trying to find a prepaid SIM or whatever for a carrier and try and deal with that mess, and especially if you're not familiar with it in whatever area you're going to, like it's just a ton of research and usually not worth it. So it's pretty sweet that they're going to let you do that. When you're out abroad, you don't normally need to have crazy data because you're going to share stuff when you get back anyway. Mm-hmm. You're focused on what you're doing there. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool announcement for sure. And then the LTE stuff. So they're 233 metropolitan areas. So they're calling it nationwide now. They should be in most places. 200 million plus people. They're 3 months ahead of schedule. They claim that in 10 of the 20 top metro areas, their speeds are faster than AT&T's. I don't know that I fully believe that, but that's what they're saying. And that they're in 91 of the top 100 biggest markets by population. So T-Mobile doing big things.
Yeah, I mean they've grown by leaps and bounds. I think even ahead of Sprint. Like I kind of used to put them on the same tier. Like Sprint and T-Mo, just like two redheaded stepchilds that you don't really care about. But now, sorry, Ron, but I'm just saying, like, but now Sprint is just so, behind in when it comes to LTE, data speed, coverage. It's just too much. Like, they're just not even an option, a viable option, I think, for a lot of people. So it's kind of a bummer.
And I think, at least in where I live, anybody that, like, Sprint has coverage here, and I'll put that in giant air quotes, like they have coverage here, but it's bad. Like even if you do have coverage, like my brother he had to have what are those things called? Whatever you plug into your
extenders.
Yeah,
like home extender.
Network extender.
Yeah, he's got one of those, and like even with that, like his data just isn't great or anything else like that. Just it doesn't. They just don't have a good network. Right. But in my area, people with T-Mobile, theirs is actually good. They get good speeds and things like that. When you look at the maps, like nationwide, T-Mobile is not great. Right. Especially compared to Verizon and AT&T. But if you do have coverage, and you have to choose between Sprint and T-Mobile, like T-Mobile wins hands down, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, it certainly seems like it. Well, Tim, the Galaxy Note 3 you were testing with Sprint, and you and I were out, and I was using T-Mo's HSPA Plus, and you were on Sprint's supposed LTE, and it was just a massive failure. Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, yes. I just can't do Sprint anymore. So.
Yeah, Sprint's got some work to do. I don't know if they're ever going to, but so anyways, that's T-Mobile's news. Big news, their third announcement in terms of the Un-carrier movement. So let's talk your Galaxy Gear review. This came out yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday. So Galaxy Gear review. Why don't you just walk us through sort of everything about the Galaxy Gear?
Well, the Galaxy Gear. From my time, I've had it for about like a week and a half now, and through that time, I felt like I was able to put all of my thoughts through the keyboard onto the internet for people to read. And with that, I found that I still really care for the design a lot, but overall functionality, use cases for it, there just weren't that many. Especially since I've already talked about how it doesn't support Gmail and doesn't support Hangouts. And then I mentioned how like around I guesstimated 90% of the notifications I get on a day-to-day basis weren't handled by Gear. And for me, it's just, what's the point? And especially when you're talking $300. I mean, sure, it's got the camera, but it's subpar at best. I mean, and plus, when do you need a camera on your watch? I'm sorry. Like, if you have the time to take a picture, to like really navigate through here, take a picture, transfer it over to your phone, and upload it, then you might as well just be taking a picture with your phone. Like, I get that pulling out the Note 3 is a pain in the butt, but just do it. Don't go taking pictures with your watch. I'm sorry. Other than that, I took a few calls on it, and the calls are cool, but again, you can't go anywhere with that feature. You can't take that out and about. If you're at the club or you're just at dinner, you still can't take the call. You can see who's calling, sure, that's fantastic, but you can't hook a mic up to this thing, or you can't hold it close and it's going to be quiet. No, it plays it on a loudspeaker and everyone can hear it. So the call feature is sort of worthless unless you're at home. But then if you're at home, just pull out your phone. So it just.
I guess if you're driving now, if you have a commute or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. The cool thing about these new smartphones in 2013, they have speaker phones built right in. You just plug it right in there and you're good to go.
But it's the thing about all the laws in all these countries now is that you can't do that. You're not allowed to even touch your phone, really.
So is the Gear a workaround? Are you okay to do this with your hand and a watch, but you can't hold a phone up there?
Right.
Well,
this is legal.
Yeah, well, when Samsung was talking about the call feature, they said that not that we, recommend using it to take calls while driving, but they did say that was a particular use case that they think that it would be helpful while in the car. So, but they don't endorse that. So, naturally.
But I mean, you don't have to have it up to your face.
No, you don't.
So.
Well, I found that when I was talking on it, I would kind of talk to it like Dick Tracy or something like that, But and I don't think you have to hold it like this. I just talk to it like this, and because the speaker's right down here. Sorry, that's the speakers are just kind of like in at the mics. I mean, the mics are built right into the watch itself, not in the strap. So I think if you just talk regular with it sitting around, it should be fine.
Yeah, just as good as speakerphone anyway.
Exactly. It doesn't sound clear or anything per se. It's even kind of quiet in my opinion. So I don't know. Everyone could hear me fine, so that's good, I guess. But again, the battery life is terrible. The display is meh. Camera meh. It's just the whole thing is kind of meh for $300. And for $300, I would rather buy some like sweet shoes or something than a meh smartwatch. So
2 pebbles.
Two pebbles, man.
the Sony Smartwatch 2 is $150 or something too. You can buy that, and it actually handles real notifications.
Exactly, and that's nice. But then again, I thought the Gear was nice just because it looked good. Like, I really like the look of the Gear, and a lot of people don't agree with me on that. But the Gear is like the one thing that I'm like, okay, this is what a smartwatch should look like. Although it just does not handle like one I would want. You know what I mean? Like, the notifications thing in and of itself is just a deal breaker for me. So
yeah, that's a massive failure. The fact that it can't handle notifications. So this commercial comes out today with Lionel Messi and the like poor kids on the street, and it's for the Galaxy Note 2, and they build a soccer field in the middle of the slums. And during the commercial, they show him like get a notification on his watch, and it's a text message or an email, and he doesn't answer it on the watch because he can't. It's telling him. So in the commercial, it even shows its limitations. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. I mean, what's the point exactly? They're just not there yet. I think it was a good step at being first to market with something new that no one's really done before. There's nothing quite like this exactly. So I think they're just trying to like get ahead of Google and Apple and be like, yeah, we actually got here first this time. But it's half baked. It's not done properly. And so I would have preferred they had just maybe waited for Google or Apple to come out with theirs first to see how a real company
wait for the real innovators to come out with a product, then copy.
Exactly. And I would be fine with that. And you know what? Everyone is so used to them copying by now that they wouldn't care anymore. Like, we get it. Like, we don't care. Just go ahead, copy. As long as it's a good copy and it's a cheaper copy, then we're fine. So.
But I think that fact, if you want to call it that, or at least opinion at this point, like the idea that Samsung is good at copying or whatever, like the products that they come out are good, but they're like that sucks, right? Like
Yeah.
Like that's like whenever we do see them step out and try to do things that are innovative, like a phone we're going to talk about in a few moments.
Not good.
Like it's never things that like are like the gear in particular has been panned by almost everybody.
It's just
across
not
the board.
helpful. Yeah, it's
Right,
like
but that's the thing. Like
their
but
innovations don't help anybody. Like
they don't have innovations. That's the thing. They have gimmicks consistently. You know, and
Well,
it's like
to their
it's
credit,
disappointing to see them consistently whenever they do come out with something in a new product category before major players come in. It's always lousy, and it never like meets the standards or the expectations that people have.
except the Note. You have to give them credit there. Even though we all don't necessarily like the Note, they were the ones that kind of created that category and have just like exploded with it.
Yeah,
Kind
okay.
of, but,
so we'll
but
give
all
them
the
Note.
Note really is though is just I mean a lot of the stuff that I can do on the Note, like not the new one, but like a lot of that stuff was built in on my Touch Pro 2 that had a stylus, and I could do the same kinds of things. It had handwriting recognition. I could draw notes. I could draw pictures. Like that was on Windows Mobile 6.1. Like
They definitely made the
I'm just saying they created
popular,
that. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
They made
having a
the
giant
entire
screen,
genre.
sure.
They're still
Yeah.
the only one that have a pen included with it. Still, for some reason, nobody else is doing that, which I don't really understand.
They might,
And it's the only one that's actually decent.
might have a patent on it.
Yeah, maybe. So, but I agree with you guys for the most part. They don't necessarily innovate out of the gate. They're kind of they come up behind when everybody else has kind of done stuff, and they go, "We have lots of money. We'll make it better. We'll improve upon that." Or I guess that's arguable.
Which is still like a good thing to have. Like it's good to see people innovate on top of what others have done, but that's got to suck to be on Samsung's team and be like, wow, like that's what we do. We copy. We don't really innovate. Like at least not in any major way with any major product category. Like everything that they've done is pretty much going on top of what others have done.
Yeah.
It is. And this thing, like you said, every single person that's reviewed this thing has not said anything really good about it. Actually, there was one review somewhere. Somebody was like, it's not a bad start. It's like, I guess if you want to call it not a bad start, but for $300 and you're Samsung, you shouldn't just be sort of testing the waters. If you're going to jump into this new category that's supposed to be taking over, as like used to be the tablet, now it's going to be the smartwatch, you can't just sort of toss out a half-assed product. You're Samsung.
I think you're cheating consumers if you do that, and that's not fair to the people who are actually paying $300 for this. Luckily for us, we didn't have to buy it. This is a review unit that I'm going to gladly send back to Samsung. But at the same time, if I had paid for this and did that review, I'm never going to use it. Like say after tomorrow or something. Like I don't need this device. So for anyone who bought it for $300, that's a ripoff if it's just a start, or it doesn't even really do anything. And that's funny though, because a lot of the reviewers were ripping on it and stuff. But then a lot of people in the comments are saying, "Oh, I know someone who has this and they love it." But I'm like,
interesting.
Real consumers actually like this thing? Like I want them to talk to me and tell me what they like. But so far they can't do that.
You see that with every product though, right? Like I just had to help somebody get their
There's
email
always
set up on their
someone
Q10.
who likes
Like
it.
somebody. So I know one person that bought a Q10. Great. That and they like it because they think it does email well. Well, okay, you couldn't get your email figured out on that because you have to put in every single stupid setting. But on an Android phone or an iPhone, you just type in your email and your password and it finds it for you. So I guess it wasn't that great. But like there are people that are going to like stuff like that. But I mean the big thing though, the takeaway that I've seen from several reviews, and I think that we can kind of pull out even from your review, Tim, is like it does things that other smartwatches that have become popular and mainstream, like Pebble and some others. It does things that they don't do, but none of that it does well enough to make you go, you know what, I'm going to get this instead. Or and the features that it has that are the same the same kind of functionality on the two, it's not better, and in some cases it's actually worse. And that's kind of sucky. It's like you guys had this huge opportunity. You guys have seen what other people have done. This is clearly like only a couple iterations in from you guys' development stage. Like you guys didn't work very hard on this. Like it's pretty blatant. So that's disappointing.
That's true. It's not like they're the first smartwatch. You're right. Pebble's been out
Definitely
for
not.
who knows how long now, and there's been so many different things on Kickstarter and whatnot. And this was Samsung's chance to take all of that stuff that those other ones do it better, and then add in some extra stuff. And it can't even handle notifications, which is embarrassing. The fact that it cannot. Well, and then the other part that they're locking it to the Note 3 for now, and then a couple other devices. Like I told Tim the other day, a reader sent in a tip that you could plug in this like 30% discount at T-Mobile to buy the thing, and it was $209 with the discount. I was this close to buying one just because I was like, that's a really good deal. And then as I got to checkout, I went, wait, I do have a Note 3 here, the international one, but I'm not really using it because I don't prefer that phone. So I wouldn't even be able to use the watch had I have purchased it. And I was this close, and then I remembered and went, oh, shit, no, you can't actually do that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What a terrible disaster.
Not to mention the fact that it launched with only the new Note 10, the new Note.
Oh yeah, so 2 devices, the tablet, 3, the 10.1,
not even the GS4. Yeah,
no, not yet.
Like you just launched the S4. Like, are your development people not talking to each other? Like, that's like there are so many and that's the thing about Samsung, I think, in particular, where they copy and they mimic and do things like that, but it's in the details that they consistently miss things. Over and over and over again when you see them do these kind of iterative products. And over time, they do get better. Like Note 3 is way better than the Note 1, obviously. So there's lots of features they figure out and they get that stuff better. But it's when you look at the details with a lot of Samsung stuff where you're like, wow, that seems really obvious now that it's out and we're all looking at it. But yet you guys somehow missed those kinds of things.
Hey, they just don't have time. Ain't nobody got time for that, Ron.
They're
sounds
busy,
like a lot of QA
they're busy
stuff.
curving things. Yeah, they're busy doing this.
Right.
Exactly. Well, someone said in the comments this morning with the next device we're going to talk about, it's just Samsung wants to be the first to put it out, but then later go back and figure out why it's useful or how it works or anything like that. I mean, it's my old shop teacher in high school, he always just said, measure twice, cut once. These guys, they just want to, cut everything and then just don't even care if it fits together, basically. Yeah.
We'll measure later. Yeah.
Exactly. So, who knows?
Yeah.
Sorry, Samsung.
Yeah. Well, that's the bummer, though, with that kind of stuff, is, being first doesn't always matter.
Right.
It really doesn't. Being first and best is what matters. Or, early and best is what matters.
Yeah, it's not a bad point.
So let's talk about this other device. The Galaxy Round has been announced. Last night, Samsung made it official in Korea. Korea only. It doesn't even have a SIM slot. I don't think it's locked to whatever carrier partner it is. So you can't even import one and test it if you want to. But anyways, the Galaxy Round is the first device with a curved display. Although it's curved like a taco, not from... Did anyone else think this should have been top to bottom curve, sort of like the Galaxy Nexus?
To fit your face,
the Nexus S,
not your...
What is it? Galaxy Taco is announced. So it has a 5.7-inch... What did they call it? Super flexible HD AMOLED. It has this really, really long name. So it's essentially the same size display as the Note 3, and it's AMOLED, but it's curved, and then it also has I believe it's a Snapdragon 800, 3 gig of RAM. So it's the same phone as the Note 3, it's just curved. And
nice.
It has 2 features, I think, that we know of. You can, when it's laying on a desk, you can tilt it, and then it'll show you notifications, which is the same feature that the Galaxy Note 3 and Galaxy S4 have, where you can just hover your hand above it and they'll show you the same information. So I'd rather hover my hand personally than rock this phone. And then if you're listening to music, you can tap on the sides of it and it'll change tracks or something like that. Other than that, I don't know what the point is, other than to say, sort of like the Gear, hey, we did it first. We curved a display.
Revolutionary.
Yeah, otherwise I don't get it. Anybody else got any ideas on why Samsung did this? What's the point?
No, not for the Note 3. I mean, actually, for the Note 3, maybe since it kind of curves in a little bit, it'd be a little bit easier to operate with one hand, possibly. Don't quote me on this. But I mentioned that I think the S4 would have been a lot cooler of a device to curve like that. I mean, just because, it's smaller and it's kind of easier to grip. I don't know. It's just so weird and it's so new. I don't know. I would love to know how it feels. It just doesn't look that good. It almost looks too curvy, if you will. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me right off. They should have curved the S4. The end.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the press release, because the press release says something. No, maybe the press email I got. It said, here's this new... It was the U.S. PR department from Samsung, and they said, here's this new phone we just announced. It's only for Korea, but we thought you would like to know about it as well. And it said we have nothing else to announce in terms of international availability. So it really does feel like a product they created, and they'll make 15 of them just for Korea, just to say we did this. And this phone probably will never go anywhere else. At least that's the impression they sort of gave off. It's not going anywhere else. This is it. Just to say we did it.
If that's the case, though, it feels like no. But they've shown bendable displays and stuff like that at CES and other
Yeah.
trade shows like that, and it feels like this is something that belongs there, where it's not necessarily on a product that's, which I think, well, didn't they have something like this where it had like a display that kind of bled over, but it wasn't working?
Yeah, so when they first showed off their bendable and flexible displays, they showed this kind of collapsed edge that was almost like a separate display that had a ticker or something, and they were trying to find innovative ways to use multiple displays kind of out of one because it bent, and this is just not that at all. This is them just curving.
Yeah, and that almost just feels like a knockoff of the Continuum, which we bought. Right. So I hope. Gosh, I'm sorry if you have one.
They held a press event for that phone.
Yeah, I remember. But and that's the thing though, is like when you do this kind of stuff, like you're not supposed to reveal that stuff until you have a use case and you can show like, hey, this is why you want this. Right. And they obviously don't have a reason to do that, and so it's like, well, if you can make that, that's great, but until you can like sell it, like what's the point? Until that, if you have the urge to really show it, then you show it at a trade show and say, hey, this is something that we're kind of messing around with.
Yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess one other thing is if you lay it face down, it won't scratch the screen.
Just the edges.
Yeah, just the edges. Otherwise, I'm not really sure. So the battery's a little bit smaller than Note 3's, obviously because it's curved and they couldn't fit a full battery in there.
I'm just pissed they put the speaker on the backside and not on the bottom. Like, you mother effers. Like, I'm sorry. Like, my main issue with the Note 3 is that the speaker is on the bottom, so when I'm in landscape mode playing my awesome games, I cover up the speaker, and of course now it's on the back. Thank you so much, Samsung, for listening to me.
When I read that in your review, like the night before I was using the Note 3 that I have, and the same thing happened to me, and I was like, I'm so glad that Tim mentioned that, because that was the same thing that was happening to me, and it was driving me insane, yeah.
It's those little things that add up to really, like, irritate me with a phone. I mean, it can't be the perfect phone if I can't hold it in landscape and watch my YouTube. So it's over.
But again, that's the kind of thing that Samsung seems, those little details where you're,
Yep, ecosystem, 1 out of 10. The end.
Yeah. It just kind of feels like they make products and then don't use them a lot of times. That's what it feels like. It feels like they like somebody puts something together and like it makes for an okay demo, but then they don't ever like go out and actually try to use it.
Oh no one at Samsung that does quality assurance or internal testing uses the device. They just look at it and they say, okay, it looks a little cooler. That's it. We're good. Gold star.
Well, what's really funny about this whole thing is LG the day before announced that they're going to do flexible displays and they'll be out by the next year. So there's a pattern. Every time LG announces something out of the ordinary, out of the blue, just random, Samsung announces something the next day. They do it every time. So obviously somebody is like informing LG what's going on, or they just know, right? Every single time. So yeah, on Monday, LG out of nowhere just goes, we're going to do a flexible displays, and they'll be in products next year. And then, sure enough, last night Samsung announced that. They did the same thing before the Galaxy S4 reveal, when LG goes, we're going to do this cool multi-window thing or something, or hovering video thing. They did a feature that we all knew was going to be in the Galaxy S4, and then something else happened, I think, before the I can't remember what it was now. Or another recent phone, they did something. Anyways, LG just continues to do it, though, on the eve of Samsung announcements. Anyways.
Guys, special announcement real quick. Someone just brought me a gift, and I got an Android Kit Kat right here that I'm going to open up live on the air and win it, and I'm going to win a new Nexus 7.
That would actually be kind of sweet. I haven't seen any of those yet. Every time I go to Target or the grocery store or something, I look, and they're never there.
Yeah. They just said that they got it at Target, so life is good.
Life is good.
Anyway,
LG.
I was going to say, speaking of life is good, we're going to talk about the Nexus next. Are you unwrapping this thing? What the hell are you doing? Let's do this.
I am unwrapping it. Well, I have to put the code into the site. You got to give me at least 5 minutes. I have to eat it. It's good luck if I eat it first, right?
I have no idea.
Let's talk about LG, and I'll find the site. Anyway.
All right, so over the weekend, massive Nexus 5 leak. The LG Nexus 5 service manual, at least a draft of it, was published, and I think it was 281 pages of this thing, and it gave us every single spec. Talked about a 8-megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, both 16 gig and 32 gig storage options, 2300 milliampere battery, HD display, or full HD, I should say. and showed pictures of it. Shows exactly the same phone we've seen time and time again leaked. I mean, it talked every single dirty detail you could ever want to know about the LG Nexus 5, I guess we're going to call. We don't know if it's actually called the Nexus 5, by the way. It could just be another Nexus 4, but we'll go with Nexus 5 for now. The only thing was we don't know about the phone at this point are the price and when it's coming out. So, and I just looked, and it looks like LG finally had everyone pull. They had, what's the embeddable PDF thing called? Scribd?
Scribd? Yeah.
Whatever it is. I just looked at our post when we had it embedded, and they finally had Scribd pull it. Just kind of funny. So, anyways, that happened. Oh, did you win something?
No, I'm pressing enter right now. I just entered the code. Everyone just, fingers crossed.
I feel like you need sound effects for this or something.
Oh, here we go.
We need like the drummer.
Oh, yeah, you got a drum roll? Totally. That'd be great.
I don't know how to get to that.
Oh.
Oh, wait, no, I found it, I think.
Alright, clicking. Loading. Oh my god, it says I have to sign in. Don't worry, I can sign in with Google, though. That's helpful. Alright, share with my circles, okay. I love Google+. It's amazing.
One more time.
Oh, I have to register.
Jesus. This is never going to happen.
Why does winning $5 of Google Play credit take so long? This is ridiculous.
It just does. Okay, we'll let you still play with that. So, all right, so we know everything about this new Nexus. We just don't know when it's coming out. We should be expecting invitations to go out for a big Google event towards the end of October, at least we think. But a lot of times Google doesn't announce events until sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 days before. They don't really give people a lot of time. So if you guys are wondering, that's why invites haven't gone out yet, because Google just does them last minute, and we don't expect the event to happen until the end of October. So I know there's an October 14th rumor floating around that that's where we're going to see everything. That's just wrong, so don't believe that.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, I would assume that we're wrong. What are we on, the 9th or something like that now? Is it the next day? Yeah. So, yeah, no. 14th is probably not happening. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about the Nexus 5. Oh, there was a bunch of ridiculous rumors yesterday. One that suggested it's going to be a second variant with a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. Just not sure I'm buying into Google doing 2 different variants. That's about it. You guys have anything else you want to say about the Nexus 5?
No, I just want to say that I don't believe in the 2 battery scenario either. So, but that's all I really wanted to say. I don't believe it.
Did you win? Or are you registering?
I have to do one of these CAPTCHA things, and it keeps saying I'm entering it wrong, which is a lie. I'm awesome at CAPTCHA. This isn't FAQ Wars.
I was gonna say, just enter FAQ Wars. FAQ Wars, and it'll be.
Just have it read it out to you.
Like, why do they make it? No, that wouldn't be helpful, because then it does that staticky noise. Like, why would they twist it and make it like so you can't read it?
Does it have a refresh button? You could try a different one.
Yeah. Well, it refreshes every time I get it wrong.
Well, just hit refresh until you get one you can read.
Yeah, that's what I usually do.
God, you guys stop
just moving it up over there, man.
All right. Submit.
Is the gear on your mouse watch or something? What's holding you back?
Son of a bee. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyways, let's just move on, I guess.
Yeah, so Nexus 5 stuff, we'll move out of there. We kind of know everything. There's no surprises unless, I think at this point, the surprises are going to come with KitKat. They're not going to be the phone itself. It's going to be KitKat. So.
And hopefully they do. Yeah, I'm hoping they do a little bit more of a redesign than they've done so far. It's been a little while now. Yeah,
so let's talk about that a little bit. There was a leak, I believe, maybe the day after we did the show, or maybe it was this week.
I want to say Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was Thursday. So there was a Keyline Pi leak, because that's obviously been the name Android 4.4 has been running under. Did you lose, Tim?
No, I won. I just won a stupid KitKat Minis pouch. I don't want a pouch. I at least want a Google Play credit. Like, good lord.
Well, how big is the pouch? Could you fit your Note 3 in there?
It is 8 ounces. So
that's all it says, an 8-ounce pouch.
It's a little guy.
It is a little guy. Okay, so Keyline Pi leak. And it was called Keyline Pi because it's still probably internally called Keyline Pi. They're not going to maybe flip the switch on that until they, make it official. And what did we see? We saw a Keyline Pi Easter egg that had a giant K with a piece of lime with 2 toothpicks in it, cocktail picks in it. We saw a new dialer we saw
The
slight.
payment.
Yeah, we saw a slightly tweaked camera UI, but not by much.
Yeah,
Then,
not
yeah,
much.
then we saw
Was it messages or text messages a little bit?
text messages. I don't think so. That was a previous leak. That was BS.
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, there was a payments option in settings. We don't really know why Google's building in payments, but that's kind of interesting at least since Google Wallet has completely changed. There's a section in the settings called Manage Mobile Plan, but that's actually on the Nexus 7 LTE, so that's not necessarily Keyline Pi. What else was there? Oh, there's a printing everywhere. So they have cloud printing or something throughout the operating system now, which is cool, I guess, if people are still printing things. And that was kind of it. Oh, there's some new filters and photo editing software built in to the gallery. Other than that, that's it so far. So no big UI change other than some tweaks to things. Obviously, we should see subtle changes here and there, but nothing massive that we've seen so far. All the icons in the app drawer look identical to what they do now, so those haven't changed. Yeah. It's Keyline Pi 4.4. I'm sure there's going to be some stuff. And the thing we have to remember, too, is what Google did at I.O., remember they sort of started pulling everything out of the operating system so they can update it separately, and then the actual operating system itself isn't that big of it. It's still a big deal. I don't mean that. It's just not as big. The updates don't need to be as big there. You know, Gmail's out, Hangouts is pulled out. They can update all that stuff independently. So who knows? Maybe it won't be a super huge thing other than maybe some, stock apps like the messaging, like you said, Ron, or obviously the dialer could get changed, the downloads app. Otherwise, that could be kind of it. We don't really know. There's got to be something else. Google always surprises us with something, don't they? Hopefully.
I would really hope so. They usually tend to surprise us a little bit, so.
Well, it seems like if they decided it's a big enough update to change the name, there's got to be something decent, right? We've been with Jelly Bean for 1, 2, and 3. So if they're jumping to 4.4, it's got to be something, right?
Oh, it's got to be major.
Maybe. I mean, sure. I mean, think about from Eclair to Froyo to Gingerbread. Those were all pretty minor. I mean, Gingerbread was a redesign, I guess, but especially Eclair to Froyo was not major.
People always just ask, like, what do you want to see in the next version of Android? But it's like, I can't even think of anything that I need because, I mean, it kind of does everything I need to. I mean, maybe just refine what's already there. I don't know. But then again, when it comes to new features, I can't really think of anything.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's anything that we necessarily need. I think there are things that we want.
What do we want? I don't even know what we want.
I would like to see the visual design really streamlined a lot more.
It is kind of mix and matched here and there for sure.
It's kind of it's just kind of all over the place, and especially like even with like the main apps. Like, if anything, I think they're under-designed at this point. There's just not a lot going on there.
Like the messaging app, the stock messaging app on Android is so terrible.
Well, really, so that just needs to get baked into Hangouts or something like that.
Well, that'd be cool if they just threw that in there. But like stuff like even like the dialer and stuff like that. Like, I just feel like it looks under-designed to me. Like, it looks like they just kind of added the things that you needed to add, and then everything else just kind of feels hazy to me, for lack of a better word. So I'd like to see them kind of like make that stuff make that design language a little bit more concrete, and I'd also like to see them put in some stricter guidelines for like app icon sizes, because that drives me insane.
They do have some weird sizes, right, with their icons.
They're even like their own apps are like all over the place in terms of like size and things like that. And I wish they would just kind of like say like, hey, like, maybe all developers don't have to do this. You can do an icon pack or something if you want to make everything look nice, but we're going to make all of our apps follow, they're going to be this kind of size, and at least in terms of like height and width, like they're going to fit this kind of shape. So I think that would, I mean, seeing that kind of thing, like that's the kind of thing that I think makes an OS as a whole feel a lot more put together. Is those kind of little details. I don't think it needs anything, but those are the kinds of things that I think makes it look better and more appealing to the eye.
Yeah, I think for me the big things are Hangouts needs to just wipe out messaging and just become the all-in-one, which we think is going to happen. A leak earlier this week sort of suggested that. That's a big thing, but those are things they can update outside of KitKat, right? Those are things they can update through the Play Store. So,
of course.
Yeah, in terms of just OS, I don't really know what I want either. It needs to be polished, and maybe that's kind of it. We'll see. They'll give us something. Google always does something. We go, yeah, I didn't know it wanted that, but I do want that now. They seem to always surprise us with something. So, all right. So Motorola rumor, juicy one, Tim. 6.3-inch device in the works called the Quantum.
Called the Quantum, yeah. Supposedly, actually, let me just correct you here. The Quantum is actually supposed to be the Droid Ultra's successor.
Oh, so this is not the 6.3-inch device.
No,
oh, there's two.
There's two devices in the works, supposedly to be launched sometime in 2014. One is the Quantum, which will be the Ultra successor, and then there's the X Play. One word, capital X, little case Play. Or I guess uppercase X.
So that's a play on the Moto X name?
Yeah, well, maybe it's like a Moto X, but big. But I don't know what you're going to play on it. I don't know. I mean, 6.3 inches. Yeah.
Is it a play on play? Well, that makes me think of display, is what that actually made me think of. Maybe I'm just weird.
Moto X Play. Moto
X. I bet it's Moto X space play. Like, it'll be just, because they're going to run with this Moto X name.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. That's okay. So the 6.3-inch on that bad boy.
Yeah, and then nothing else is known. No specs were rumored. No nothing. All they gave us was names. So X Play.
Wait, the X Play is the giant one?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that is a play on display.
Well, I guess we'll see.
It's a giant display, like
X. What is X though? What's the variable stand for or whatever?
How deeply can we look into this?
Oh, we could look deep.
I'm just saying, especially since it's a bad one, like or the big. Sorry, not the bad one. The big one. Like if they say like, hey, this is, if you want something with like a really really nice big display.
I'm tired of X. Like I just don't like X. Like
but Q Play doesn't work.
Yeah, I know. I like Q. But X is overplayed. You know what I mean? Like
not as much as S.
Yeah, like I'm tired of G and I'm tired of X, like an S. There's a few letters in the English language I'm just sick of,
Yeah, just single letters in general. Can we stop
exactly. Yeah, although Moto X is cool.
Yeah, but that's just cool because the letter X is cool. Like that's why,
Exactly.
It's the same thing as the original Droid X.
But like when you spell something with an X, like that shouldn't make sense at all. Like the Motorola Zoom or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it does.
Well, even Zoom wasn't horrible. Once you get to Max though, with two X's, that's where you realize, you know what? X is dead to me. I don't ever want to see another X. That's what killed it.
It's so bad. Exactly. So man, their marketing people are just so unimaginative. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, extreme. Things like that are just annoying. So.
Yeah, that was a rumor name for the Droid X, wasn't it? The Extreme for a while there.
Mm-hmm. The Extreme,
and then they axed it and changed it to just Droid X. But anyway, okay. So the other one's the Quantum. This is the follow-up to the Ultra.
Correct. Yeah, and so basically 2014 is supposedly when these things could launch, which makes sense. We mentioned that the Ultra is still a pretty fresh device on Verizon, so they don't need to be pumping money into a whole bunch of new devices, especially given that Motorola's and Verizon's relationship in terms of a Droid branded smartphone is sort of, we don't know what's really going on with that, how long that relationship's going to continue. So especially with Google now owning.
It's exclusive, though, right?
It's exclusive now. They've kind of announced. So I would assume they've got at least a couple more.
How many more?
Oh, and when you see announcements like that, and like especially like that's following up, what was that what was HTC's the DNA? Like this is the epitome of what a Droid is supposed to be and all that. And it's like you guys knew you were lying. Like like you knew those devices were coming. Like why give this whole big show about the DNA?
Well, how are you going to sell phones if you say, well, here's this, but you should probably take a look at what we got coming down the road?
Yeah, but that's the kind of like Verizon in particular with just the hyperbole that they use constantly. Like it just like over time it just becomes so like undervalued, and especially when you like if you watch Verizon over just a year's time, like it's too much.
I wonder if HTC and Samsung just said, we don't want to make Droid phones anymore. We hate your stupid brand. We just don't want to do that.
Maybe because Samsung's was the worst of the bunch. Like the Droid Charge. What an embarrassing.
Wait. Droid Aris, dude. Droid Aris.
Droid Aris. I would have taken an Aris over the Charge.
I would take an Aris over a Charge.
In terms of design, sure.
In terms of
Just in terms of
Mostly because the charge used
giant
Comic
buttons.
Sans.
Yeah, the charge had like touch whiz on it too, like it was some weird.
Dude, I
So bad.
couldn't answer a phone call on the Aris after I got updated to 2.1 or whatever.
Whatever.
I couldn't answer a phone call.
That was back in the day. We'll give them a little excuse or
Yeah.
something.
No, there's no a phone call. That's the one thing I need to be able to do. I was so mad. I called support. I was like, guys, this update, like, did you test it at all? Like the phone would ring like 5 times, and I can see there's a call coming, but it wouldn't let me swipe down because you had to swipe down to answer because that makes sense. That was the worst.
I remember when that
yeah.
phone came out, and this guy that I worked with at the time before I was doing this full time, he got the Aris, and I had the OG, and I was like, I just got the 2.1 update, and he's like, he was so sad. And I was telling him all these things it did, and he was just, you could just see him just like shrink.
Yeah, I remember before I got the Aris, I was I'd seen somebody using it, and I was looking at that, and then I was looking at the Droid because I did switch over from my Touch Pro 2 that was dying, and I was like, the Aris, like the software just looked so much better than Android did at the time, so I was like, I'm just gonna get that. It looks nicer. God, was that a mistake?
Wolf.
Preach it.
All right. So the other Motorola news then, and Verizon related, EvLeaks says the Moto Maker Verizon sort of partnership thing is happening on November 11th. And that was sort of the rumor we had heard around the launch of the Moto X that Moto Maker was coming to Verizon in November. And I remember at the time that seemed so far away, but November is only a couple of weeks away now, which is kind of crazy. And it makes sense for Motorola to do that, to expand that, especially right before the holidays. So if you've been holding out on a Moto X for Moto Maker, November 11th could possibly be your time.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Eric's gonna be pissed. I don't know if you already know. He should have waited.
Yeah.
I do like the white and black versions though. It's not like they're terrible.
No, they're not.
So.
They're not terrible. But I mean, if I had the ability to customize one, then I wouldn't even think about getting a white or black phone ever again.
That's true.
So.
I wonder how many people on AT&T that bought the phone actually went with a white or black carrier version, or if they.
That's a good question.
Because it's it's free, which is kind of one of the most surprising things I still think about the whole Moto X, Moto Maker thing is that it's free. They're not upcharging you to do any of that. It's the same $199, same price, just to get all of that stuff done, which is kind of cool.
Just wait a couple. You can't do it in store. You have to wait a couple of days. That's the only.
Oh, just a couple of days.
Yeah. No, it's not a big deal.
No, that's not bad at all. I think that's great.
Yeah. Between that and the Soul Republic headphones you can get with it, and like all that, like they just did such a good job with that. Like it's a bummer that they had to like wait to roll it out or whatever the reason was for that. But
good job, Moto.
Good job, Moto.
Doing big old things.
Yep. All right, let's talk about this HTC One that's in actual gold.
Man, does that thing look bad.
Yeah, it does. So HTC announces the 18-karat gold one for the MOBO Awards. Tim, what does MOBO stand for?
Excuse me? Oh, Music of Black Origin.
Oh, Music of Black Origin, that's right. So the Music of Black Origin Special Edition Gold HTC One is actually made of real gold, and it costs $4,400, roughly.
Yes,
roughly.
not bad.
And they made
18-karat gold.
Yeah, 18 carats. So they made 5 or 6 of them, or 4 or 5 of them.
5.
Couple 5 of them. So a couple going to award winners, and a couple for marketing purposes and all this other stuff. So,
yeah, I was hoping we could partner with them and give one away, but no.
Yeah. So the HTC let some media see it in London, and everybody said it's already scuffed. You know, gold's just too soft.
Of course.
Soft, right? So.
Well, that's why they couldn't do 24. If you set the phone down, it would have bent.
Yeah. You're holding it wrong. Seriously.
Yeah. So it's not like you would actually.
It's surprising they went that high. Like I'm surprised they did 18. Like.
Right. Yeah, it's just a weird.
They're balling out.
Move in general.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Trinidad James, all gold every time.
Trini HTC One.
The thing is, like, it just looks so gaudy and horrible. Like it looks like a weird like Virtue knockoff is what it looks like.
Right. So there was already these gold ones and gold S4s out there, but this one is just officially made by HTC, and it's not like gold plated. This is like gold. Yeah. It's so stupid.
It is stupid, and it works. You know, it's just not just a dummy unit made of gold. It actually works. It has boom sounds. Has
the radios fight their way through that.
Why do you choose Mobo? Like, why not the Oscars or Emmys or MTV Music Awards or Teen Choice Awards or something like that? Something way. It just
Right,
seems like the Mobo Awards
maybe
is kind of
something
like a waste.
with an actual gold award.
Yeah, not to downplay Mobo, that's great, but maybe something.
AT&T also doesn't have any money anymore, so maybe they couldn't pay to sponsor anything else but the Mobo Awards.
It's actually it's a really good idea.
They just
Because they spent all their
for
money.
percent
They spent all their money making all those gold HTC ones. They were like, wait a minute, how many did you make? Okay, we gotta find a different partner.
They spent all their money on gold ones and Robert Downey Jr. And yeah.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
What was the story the other day that their chief marketing officer or something said? Our problem is not. What did she say? She basically said our problem is marketing. It's like, you guys just signed Robert Downey Jr. to this multi-million-dollar, multi-year. Yeah, and I'm sure she's part of that decision.
Oh, they need help.
Yeah, they need a lot of. The quarter they just reported earnings for was the first quarter in history for the company that they lost money, I believe. So.
Right, I saw that report. For some reason, I thought they had lost money on a different quarter already, but
I think the whole year-over-year thing was the.
I think they've always made a little bit. It's just been down into
maybe it was revenue.
Million. Yeah, revenue might be now down, or was down at about 100 million or something really low like that. Now they're just completely.
Now they're just bleeding cash.
Yeah. So, anybody have any thoughts about who's going to buy HTC in the next year?
What's the rumor today? Lenovo?
Oh, God, please no.
I think the rumor today is that Lenovo is going to buy HTC.
Who cares? Who cares? Yeah, just scrap it. Use it for parts. Who knows?
Well, maybe if LG buys them, we can finally get that HP WebOS device or HTC WebOS device we've always wanted.
They've been shooting themselves in the foot like the past.
I don't think there's any Wii in
while.
that.
I could probably convince somebody else to also want that with me.
Yeah, you probably could.
Come on, guys.
It's kind of sad.
Just
because
think this,
they do
but
make
gold.
kind of cool phones. Yeah, but gold.
Just like with a gold keyboard, it lights up. You can see your reflection in back. It's gonna be great, guys.
It's just if HTC goes away or they stop making phones, we're left with more Samsung, more LG,
more Moto,
and then hopefully Motorola doing something that's better than both of them.
I don't want HTC to go. I like their designs.
Yeah.
They make stupid decisions like investing with Facebook in the first and investing a crap ton of money.
Audio?
Truckloads of money in Beats Audio. Like, no, man.
Well, I don't think the deal with Facebook was necessarily bad. It's just they knew that Facebook was gonna, from everything that I've seen, they had no idea Facebook was gonna release the software for all phones. That was not the original plan.
I just think
was destined to fail. Even if they weren't going to release it for all phones, which they didn't really. Remember, it only went to like the Galaxy S3 and a couple of phones.
It went to the 3 and the 1, I think.
Slowly rolled it out, yeah.
Creating a phone.
Thing was gonna.
Yeah, creating a phone catered for just a home launcher for Facebook, you've got to be kidding me. I don't even think Peter.
Well, but if it had launched
a Facebook.
Yeah, but like the new, I think it's just a beta. I don't think it's the full. But like where you can have like Instagram and all those other things in there. If they had done that from the start, I think that would have been a lot more interesting. And that's not that hard to figure out. Hey, we should maybe incorporate something like Instagram that we freaking own, like putting that in there, you know. And I think that could have been a little bit more successful, especially for if you don't make people pay $100 for it. Say it's like, you know, $50 on contract or free or whatever.
Should have been free. Yeah. Okay, so
that could have sold a lot better.
Bigger failure: HTC first, Galaxy Gear.
Ooh,
well,
Gear, hands down.
No, I'd have to go for the first.
Okay, you've got to spend your own money on one of the two. What are you going to buy?
Oh my god. Well, technically the first was free on contract.
No, it wasn't. It was $99. That was part of the problem.
After
you have to pay tax on the device, so you're going to spend money.
Okay, if I had to spend any amount of money on either or, I would get the Gear.
You're insane.
Do I already have a phone? Do I have a Note 3 to go with the Gear?
You've got nothing. You've got to pick one. I don't know. They're not the same thing.
Well, then I have to get the first. I mean, the first actually looked like a cool device. It had those cool home buttons. It had the circular little back arrow. Yeah, it was a cool little nifty phone. It was just underpowered, underspec'd, and all that. So.
But it ran fine. The camera was sucky, but it ran Android fine.
Yeah, I can install a third-party launcher on it and be good to go.
It was like the Moto X before the Moto X.
Of course.
In a lot of ways it was. It just didn't have any traction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or a marketing budget, really.
the question is invalid because one is not a smartphone. One is a non-device that doesn't do anything. It just sits
Yeah.
there. So.
But just for notification purposes, wouldn't you want to pick the first overall? Come on.
Yeah. Either way.
Just so you could
Just strap the first onto your wrist. That's just as good. It's better.
It's about the same size, maybe.
I wanted to make what was that called? Veer. I wanted to make the Veer into a watch.
Mm.
The what? I don't.
The Veer.
What? What's the Veer?
HP Veer. Come on, guys. WebOS. Where are you guys at?
I did not. I was not around in the WebOS days.
I was rocking a Voyager.
Yes, you were. The Veer was the last phone to be released. It was after it was pre-3 in the Veer. It was after touchpad. You were around.
I was around. I just wasn't paying attention whatsoever.
You were around, just not paying attention.
To what WebOS was doing at all. Yeah.
That's so low.
Apologies, WebOS. Apologies. The Veer, huh? That's good to know.
Sorry, LG.
In other HTC news, HTC One Max pictured headed to Verizon. That's all I really know. Does anyone care about the HTC One Max? Does anyone want a bigger HTC One that does nothing different than the HTC One? It's just bigger?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, it has a fingerprint scanner. Sorry. Fingerprint scanner.
Yeah, how dare you?
Game changer.
Yeah.
What if the camera was slightly better?
I think everything just suggests that we've seen so far that it's just going to be the same shitty...
Ultra pixel.
The same bad 4 megapixel. All I want to call it is a 4 megapixel camera because that's all it is.
That's what it is.
But that's what I'm saying. Like as is, it obviously doesn't seem like it's worth it to even do. But what if the camera was better? Because that is like a legitimate complaint if you're going to have one about the One.
Yeah.
Is the camera like?
If they created their ultra pixel thing with an 8 megapixel sensor, yeah, maybe it might be worth it then. But I don't want to take 4 megapixel shots. The resolution's too small.
The phone just looks too big for
it looks huge, yeah.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think especially because it's aluminum, like the regular one already looks big, even though it's not that much bigger than most phones on the market. Like,
but it
feels bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I honestly do think having it in aluminum does make that difference. I think that's why called the One Mini? Did they call it the One Mini?
Yeah,
Mini. Yeah.
I think that one looks a lot better and feels a lot better, even though it's slacking a little bit in terms of specs. But
yeah,
if you're gonna pick one, I think that one feels the best.
Well, I don't think they really updated or upgraded the specs in the One Max. I think it's the same processor as the One, same camera, a 1080p display that's bigger is all, still boom sound, beats. I don't think there's really any difference to it other than it's bigger. It's like they made a phone bigger just to make a bigger phone because that's what everyone else is doing.
Probably a bigger battery.
Probably has a bigger battery, yeah.
Probably a bigger battery.
Yeah, it just seems like a device they're making because they're reacting to, although they're reacting to the bigger screen device craze like a year and a half late.
Sorry, guys, a little late to the party.
The tail of HTC, yeah.
But this was, that's been rumored since right around the one. Maybe before the One came out.
Rumors it doesn't help them sell devices though, and it doesn't get anyone.
No, but that's what I'm saying. This has been in development for quite a long time. Yeah. And that's what's disappointing about it is this isn't in any way. And same thing with the One Mini. Like they weren't dramatically different devices. How did these not all launch at the same time?
Right.
If you're going to go through the horrible decision of launching all three of those, like put them all at the same time, like you did with the One X and the V and the S.
And the S, yeah. Yeah, that's right. They did all launch those at the same time, and with the One, they were like, no, we're just going to do one phone. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and then they had that huge propaganda thing, and it was BS.
Yeah. Yeah. This phone, I just don't get why they need to just... Well, first of all, I don't get why it's not out. Like you said, it's been leaked for 6 or 7 months, I feel like now.
Long time.
And it's apparently coming next week, I think. I just don't think anyone really cares at this point. If you want a big screen device, buy the Note 3. Don't buy the HTC One Max. I just don't understand that. Sweet. You guys want to talk a couple apps and games, maybe?
Yeah, let's do it.
Something. Well, okay, so the first one, this isn't really an app you need to go check out or something, but Instagram ads, we didn't talk about that yet. Does it bother you guys at all, the Instagram? So if you're listening, you're not aware of what I'm talking about. Instagram announced they're going to start implementing ads in timelines. Does that bother you guys at all?
Yeah, I was bitching about it in the post I wrote. Yeah, it bothers me quite a bit. Although people called me a hypocrite because I worked for a site that features ads. Well, I'm sorry. We weren't bought for $1 billion. There's no... Yeah, so, anyways, it pisses me off.
Ron?
I think if they do, I think in particular having them on Instagram, like they're gonna have to be photos or videos, right? So I think that gives them the opportunity to do a lot more interesting things with ads than they could otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I really, really wish that people would come up with more ways than ads to make money. Like, like that's cool, I guess. Like if that's the way that you have to go, which seems like that's what every single app and company has to do now, with like exceptions of like Path and things like that. Or if you're still in startup and getting VC funding. But like, I would love it if people like figured out other ways to make money besides like charging for your app or whatever. Like you have to have sustainable revenue. So I get that, to like come up with a way that's interesting to users, that makes users want to spend money, over and over again. There's been some success with stickers to some degree for some, messaging apps and that kind of thing. But
what if they charge like $1 to unlock video or something? Like an in-app purchase.
I think that'd be cool. I mean, when you look at apps that have in-app purchases, they tend to do really well, especially games that are free to play, and then you pay a little money for something. Like those tend to do really well. So I think that's been proven to be a good category. I think that a lot of users find that annoying, and there's that balance there, right? Where it's like if you can make an app, I don't know. It's a hard thing to break through on, but I'd love to see some more innovation with that. Like besides something like stickers, where people are, or this game is going to be playable now because you paid us some money. Like there's got to be a better way to do that.
Yeah, or like pay $1 to record 30-second clips instead of 15, or there should be other ways, as long as they're not showing.
It has like filters that you can buy and things like that. And I think in particular for something like Instagram, like, hey, you get a lot of people miss the Gothic filter. We'll give you that back for 99 cents.
Well, give me a little bit more than just one Gothic filter, but I do appreciate the idea, Ron.
Right.
Well, that's another good idea, though. They could start selling filters. They could add new filters that cost money. There is lots of ways. And apps that use in-app purchases now are all making a killing for the most part, as long as they're good. That's just sort of the way of the app future right now. So yeah, the ad thing is a little disappointing. I'm not going to lie. But as you said, readers pointed out, we do.
We're hypocrites. We're just evil people.
Well, see, so what I was going to say is it bothers me just because I'm annoyed that there'll be ads in there, but at the same time I understand they have to make money. We're the same way as,
I agree.
We give people free content and we, put ads up so we can, make money, but
I would hope at least that if I do have to look at ads, I want them to be tailored to me. If they had some type of algorithm, they could figure out what type of pictures I post and what type of pictures I like, then they could cater to that. Like, say I like something like a shoe. Like, I like a lot of shoes and I like cars.
Don't tell that to any of the security people, privacy people listening, because they will
That's
punch
the
you.
thing. That's the thing. It's like, and that's why people freak out about Facebook
to me,
and
though.
things like that. But that's how you do good ads normally, hopefully. Although Facebook seems to never be able to tailor to what I want.
Facebook knows nothing about serving ads. I can guarantee you that.
I consistently get like on YouTube. I've gotten especially like if I'm watching pretty much anywhere. I get car ads constantly for like cars that I definitely can't afford, that Google should know I can't afford. And I also on YouTube, at least on the desktop side, I'll constantly get like Christian mingle things. It's like, good, you figured out that I'm Christian. You should also figure out that I'm married, so I'm not going to be looking to mingle. Like, what?
I know.
Like, so those things tend to be bad. But like that's the other problem with it too. It's like then when you transition into becoming a company that has to sell ads and stuff like that. And I guess now that they're owned by Facebook, they don't necessarily have to have their own division for that. But like that sucks. Like. You have to become a different company to do that. You have to have this whole new, and then you have to add in a whole new sales department too, where hey, we've got to sell these ads and we've got to figure out how we're going to do them in creative ways that we don't upset users. And I don't think they have to worry about users leaving or anything else like that, but they do have to, I think, worry about how the public responds to them, especially after their whole last terms of service thing. Even if a lot of people didn't leave, it was a big but it was a big deal, and I think. Especially now when we've even got presidents that are referencing like technology things like that, like that's it's become like that kind of thing has become mainstream. Like that's what people talk about. Like that's always on the top of Yahoo News. Although I think Tim and I are the only people that check Yahoo News. But like, but like like that's part of the normal conversation now. It's part of our vernacular now. We talk about these things. These are things that everybody, at least in rich nations, like those are things that people are dealing with and interacting with, and that's. Like you've got to have some sort of control over that. So the problem with like saying like, hey, you have to have people pay for filters or something like that is when you compare the money you make on that versus the money you get from an ad from Coke, like it doesn't match at all. And that's the real problem there. So hopefully, I mean, the nice thing is when you have companies that say, hey, yeah, we could make a lot more money, but we'd rather have a good product and a product that people love like that. And that's what makes me appreciate Path. Even though it doesn't have like this crazy user base, like my closest friends and family, like they use it. And that's something that I appreciate.
To you. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes absolute sense. I'm just saying, as long as the ads are not tacky or stupid, I'm afraid that because they said in their press release that they, during the first few months that they would make sure that the ads are beautiful and are good. But like, what happens a year from now when the ads are like GIFs that are just like shooting images at you and like subliminal messaging or something like that? I don't care for that.
Sponsored Instagram posts.
There's the issue of, okay, are these ads going to be repeated all the time? Am I going to have to see the same stupid car commercial over and over again whenever I try to watch a video? Right. Is it going to be optional? Like if I have automatic play turned off,
is it just going to play automatically?
Is it still going to play? That's a problem. Like those are all decisions they're going to have to make, and they're going to like there's so many like little things that they have to get right, and that they'll probably not get right on the first iteration. Like there's all this danger there. Hopefully they slowly roll it out, and I really hope they just stick just images. They won't, but like
they won't.
It's 15 seconds are perfect commercial spot lengths.
Oh yeah, those bastards.
Yep. All right, so yeah, Instagram's doing that. Ads coming sometime this year.
Congrats, Instagram. Make some money.
All right, so for apps, I wrote up another one of those icons in UCC Dub posts today. So I talked about Bank's icon pack, which I actually talked about last week too, so check that out if you haven't. Another icon pack called iNext. Actually, the 3 icon packs I featured today are all really, really nice. So Bank's iNext, which is like iPhone but with Next. And then there's this pack called Eternal. They're all really, really pretty icons if you want a new icon pack to check out. We also tossed in some UCCW skins. One's called Peak, which is sort of like a peaking clock. I don't know, it's cool. You'll have to check it out. And then there's this one called Shift Clock that I think everyone should just grab.
That will look good.
Yeah, it comes in white and black. But anyways, so yeah, check that out. Icons and UCCW post at the site. I don't know, it's cool. Tim, any apps, games?
I have a single game this week. I have Bunny Bonker. Bunny Bonker is a very interesting game. I was just creeping around with Google Play last night, and I found it, and I was like, oh, I got to write this up. So Bunny Bonker, at first, it kind of reminds me of Fruit Ninja. How you got things popping up on your screen that you got to touch and interact with, in order to complete objectives and score high. Bunny Bonker is kind of like that, but it's also like Duck Hunt. So you're there's a few levels. There's a African safari, there's space, there's a few. But anyways, these little bunnies are hiding behind bushes, and you press on them, and you need to use 2 fingers now. Keep this in mind. You can't just use one because there's too many bunnies to deal with. So you got bunnies popping all over you.
So if you got the Galaxy Round, you can't play this.
Probably not, no. Luckily, it's pretty easy on the Note 3 though, because it's a nice big display. But don't play it on Galaxy Gear. That would be impossible. So either way, you got bunnies popping up, and you just tap on bunnies, and then the bunnies spit diamonds, and there's like tribal bunnies that you gotta tap on a lot, and they blow up, and there's power-ups, and it's really fun. It's free, which is fantastic. It's a very nice game. It looks good, the music is good, and it's free. I mean, and it's like an indie developer. It's not one of these big guys that just comes in and roll over indie devs.
It's not PopCap.
No, it's not. It ain't PopCap, and it's not EA Games or GameLoft or something like that. So, Bunny Bonker, go grab it, try it out. Let me know what you think. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Sweet. What else do you guys want to talk about? Got any other burning topics? That's about all I got.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything.
Unless anybody, got a new phone or something.
Oh, yeah. I did get a new phone.
Ron got a new phone. Breaking.
Breaking exclusive. Let me see it. Where is it?
This is my new Moto X. Oh, wait, no.
It kind of looks like a Moto.
Custom design Moto X.
Yeah, I designed this myself.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. Yeah. You liking iOS 7 and all that stuff?
Yeah.
You were using it on your 4S, though, weren't you? Probably.
I was, and man, yeah. So I do have a handful of things to say, I guess. So number one, even though this is the 5C and not the crazy new 5S, just huge jumps in speed in terms of with iOS 7. Like there's just lots of little on the 4S. There's just lots of little stutters and things like that, just because it's an older phone. So everything just flies on there. So, and it's also nice to finally have LTE. That's been great.
Yay!
So,
that's right. Congrats.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Obviously, I've like used LTE because I've had plenty of review devices. But yeah, having that on my main phone is pretty sweet. So, but there's one thing in particular that I've had a lot of people. Everybody was just always assuming I was going to get the 5S because it's the top of the line or whatever. But I just really hate the look of the 5S. I wasn't and that's the thing. Like I went to the store because I wanted to see them in person because seeing pictures usually isn't a good representation of it.
Right.
But like Apple's pictures are actually super accurate, and that's how the phones look. And I was really hoping. Like I just hate how space gray looks. I don't think it just looks like there's too many colors going on there.
Yeah.
The white is tolerable. The gold, it looks okay, but in light it actually has like a rosy hue to it.
Champagne, rosé,
rose gold.
Yeah. So I just don't think it looks good. And I've had a lot of people, I was complaining about the what are they called, screws on the gear. How I don't like that look. I had a few people saying, well, there's screws on the bottom of my iPhone. It's like, well, yeah, but they're not like on the front of it, which is nice.
Are there screws on the bottom of that one?
There are, and that's why I wanted to because of the way they do I don't know if I can get this to focus right, but you can at least get a good idea of with the way that the speakers are right next to it. It's pretty indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Can I just say that Apple at least knows where to put headphone jacks? Android manufacturers.
Yeah, that's been a hard thing for me to get used to actually, because I keep my phone in my lap, so then it's upside down. So then if I get notifications, I have to grab it and turn around to see what the heck's going on.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, the big thing is like I'm gonna get an upgrade, and so it's a huge jump from the 4S.
You got a bigger display now.
It's this giant display, crazy huge.
It's probably
display.
too much for you to handle.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with all that. I got another row of icons to organize.
I know.
That's right, a new row.
5 row.
The fifth row.
Man.
I get it. iPhone 5. Oh wait, no, wait. Yes, iPhone. Yes, this is the iPhone 5. Yeah. iPhone 5 rows. That's great.
Fifth row, yeah.
Well, we'd love a review sometime. I'm sure all the readers are dying for Ron's review of the.
They want to know. They want to know. Yeah, but the big thing for me was just like if I'm gonna every time I thought about getting the 5S, I was like, I really don't want to have a phone that I hate the look of. That's what it just kept coming down to, and I really like the look of this blue. So.
It's not bad. It's a nice looking blue.
Pretty blue. I'm just like colored phones right now. I'm glad Apple did that. I'm glad Motorola did what they're doing, and they're not
Nokia's been doing it.
Yeah, Nokia's been doing it, so I like their stuff. Well, and HTC did it with their Windows phones too, and their colors of theirs were pretty nice.
Yeah,
I like colorful phones. It got so boring there with all black and all white.
Everybody was doing black and white, and and that just gets. I think it's kind of cool. Just and I said this when I talked about the Moto X, while saying that I was going to get a different phone. Like, like having those color options. I think I've said that. I said that at least a year, maybe a year and a half before we ever even knew rumors about the Moto X. Like having colors in phones, like that's a cool thing. Like, and we can all kind of like think back to when like you did have color options. It was just like flip phones and crazy stuff like that, and people, but like. We intrinsically want to customize our phones in all sorts of ways. Like I remember with chocolates, so if somebody had the white or the black, they'd switch battery packs. So you had a little Panda phone. Like there's like little things like people do things like that because you want it to be tailored to you and your tastes, and that's an easy way to do it without having to like send in your phone to colorware and pay tons of money for that, or put on some giant case that then makes you hate your phone and never even see it. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. I hope you enjoy it.
I do.
Good. I know you're so happy about
it. Everyone's happy when they get new phones.
Oh, I love that feeling.
The only other thing I can think of then is the Droid Life NFL Eliminator. I'm still alive. Alive. 5 weeks in, and there's
who
only
you got for this week?
Denver. They're playing Jacksonville. Easy.
Oh my god.
See, it's a record spread, so yeah, I'll win that. There's only 394 people left after 5 weeks out of 2,500, 2,600.
There's been some upsets going down.
There's been some upsets. That's the only thing I got going on.
Because no one thought the Chiefs would be undefeated by now. So
yeah, stop picking against the Chiefs, everyone. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Anyways.
Sweet.
I
All right, well, yeah. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Episode 38 in the books. We'll be back. Pretty sure we'll be back next week again. So yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Deuces.